In many parts of India, poverty has been a way of life for generations. In recent years, there's been a shift from resignation to hope. At the heart of this change are women who are stepping forward to help shape the future. One-sixth of the world's population, more than 1 billion people, live in India. Within 40 years, that number could double. Population growth and poverty are particularly acute in certain areas. Social programs address these conditions with some success in urban areas and in many southern states. But in other regions, such as the rural areas in the north, numbers continue to rise and extreme poverty persists. Those who suffer most are women and girls. Gender discrimination in its extreme has tragic consequences. Sex selection operations are illegal. Despite the law, this practice continues. Female infanticide is carried out quietly by impoverished families desperately seeking sons. Brides perish in suspicious kitchen fires because the money or land they brought to the marriage was not enough. Violent acts do provide evidence of anti-female bias, but the most widespread source of suffering for women is still deprivation. Especially in the villages, females get less food and less health care than males. Many organizations, both international and community-based, with the support of the Indian government, are helping India build a healthy future. Programs range from improved farming techniques to loans for small businesses. Some of these groups focus specifically on the needs of women. We'll look at the impact of one of these organizations, Janani, launched in the state of Bihar in 1996. With funding from both international foundations and the Indian government, Janani provides family planning services. Their outreach includes training rural couples to offer contraceptives and counseling. Their butterfly logo is a symbol of positive change. We'll meet 3 village women who've been trained by Janani to become women medical practitioners. SARITA, Rekha, and Damayanti. All of these women were raised traditionally and had lived in the seclusion of their homes. By becoming counselors, they're breaking new ground. Each in her own way, they serve as role models for other women. SARITA and her husband PAWAN grew up in a world where women are expected to serve men. They challenged that convention by working together as peers, at home and in their clinic. Damayanti wants her daughter Kiran to get a good education. Most village girls marry in their teens. Damayanti hopes Kiran will stay in school and then go to college. Indian mothers-in-law usually demand that their sons' wives stay at home. RAJKUMARI does not restrict her daughter-in-law. Instead, she encourages Rekha to go into the community and speak with their neighbors about family planning. Most village women are hesitant to talk about sexual subjects. The women practitioners themselves need to be comfortable with intimate issues before they can counsel others. This orientation begins with Janani staff members. JAYA is the director of training.
When I came into Janani, when I saw people talking about condoms and oral contraceptive pills, I was a bit shy and I used to giggle at, And by and by I realized that it was no longer taboo for me to speak about sex or about all this stuff. Like speaking out condoms in India is like, oh, what she's talking about. So today it's not that with me. I can confidently discuss these topics with any person, be it a female or a male. I can really go out and talk about it.
JAYA trains women practitioners to build hope in their villages by helping people plan their families. Having the freedom to make choices uplifts women who are born into a seemingly endless cycle of poverty, overwork, and continual childbearing. From infancy on, females face a difficult life. Most girls begin doing manual labor while their bones are still forming. Research shows that females have more fractures and severe back pain than males. Girls continue to work at home and on the farm. They get less schooling than boys. In the northern states, only 1 in 4 girls can read, compared to more than half the boys. While the poorest village women work outdoors from dawn to dusk to survive, women with some resources, however meager, often enter purdah, virtual seclusion. These women are not to leave the house without an escort, and when they do go out, they must cover themselves. Their saris are often their richest possessions. Until recently, little attention has been given to the impact of rural life on women. One study determined that a village woman inhales the equivalent of 20 packs of cigarettes every day. What gender inequality means is that women and girls do not have equal access to information and resources. Throughout India, the goal of programs like Janani's is to improve living conditions for villagers by offering them the tools for family planning. Janani's outreach began by approaching men, rural medical practitioners, RMPs, who are not licensed physicians, but are trusted as healthcare workers by villagers. These men provide most of the non-hospitalized medical care in Bihar. Soon after they began, Janani realized that village women were not able to speak openly with male practitioners. One of Janani's boldest efforts was to invite village women, usually the wives of rural medical practitioners, to work as partners with their husbands. Enabling couples to work as equals is what makes this approach unique. These practitioners begin their work with Janani by attending a training in Patna, the capital city of Bihar.
Most of the women who come in along with their husbands for the training, it's the first time they're coming out of the kitchen and the household. Coming to a city is a very big thing for her. She's taking a bold step to step out along with her husband. On the first day, she's keeping quiet and just listening. Second day, she started analyzing things and asking questions on that. And by the third day, most of them have a confidence in them that, yes, I can go back and start off something. They are still shy, but even then, there is a flicker of hope and confidence inside them that has been lightened up here in the training center. Like, yes, I can do it.
Even though the medical practitioners selected to work with Janani live in the villages they serve, they often have more resources than many of their neighbors. They're in a position to help in their community. RMP couples usually own some land and can read at least a little. Even though their homes generally have no plumbing and no electricity, they've managed to establish simple clinics. Janani is setting up similar programs in states beyond Bihar and has now trained more than 10,000 couples. The contribution they make to their villages is needed. But when a man works side by side with his wife, that departure from traditional roles provokes controversy.
My husband and I work together. Some people, the relatives and our neighbors, think I'm right in what I'm doing. They think he is correct in supporting me. Some in our village don't think that we have equal rights. They say a woman is a woman. She is something that should be pressed under our feet.
I don't know what other women think of Sarita working with me, but I know that many women in the village give her respect. They regard her as someone who can solve their problems.
One woman comes and I talk to her, and she benefits from the visit. She goes and tells another one. Whatever they ask me, I answer their questions, like about abortion, tubal ligation, or contraceptive pills. If women are shy to ask about these things, I take them quietly inside, behind the curtain, and I ask them then.
PAWAN and SARITA's relationship is modern, but their marriage began with a ritual of generations past. They met each other for the first time on their wedding day.
There is a custom where, before the engagement, family members from both sides visit each other. So one of my uncles bought a picture of Sarita with him. I was a little embarrassed at first to look at the picture. One of my best friends actually forced me to look. And I liked the picture when I saw it. After the ceremony, I saw my wife for the first time. Even during the wedding, I could not see her clearly because of the veil. But she was fine. No problem.
When I met my husband on our wedding day, because I was young, I didn't know the rules about behaving in my husband's house. When I saw him for the first time, I was shy, but at the same time happy.
As it is often said about a partnership between a husband and wife, they are incomplete without each other. Like a bicycle with two wheels. One may be in front of the other, but without each other, they can't function. Why should we not share each other's tasks?
Just as PAWAN supports SARITA, Rekha could not work in the community without the support of someone in her family. One of the reasons progress for women has been slow is that daughters-in-law are often treated by their in-laws as unpaid laborers. Rekha's mother-in-law, RAJKUMARI, wants Rekha to have meaningful work in addition to her household duties.
I find myself very different from the Indian mother-in-law. Hence, I understand that our daughter-in-law is not even a little bit less than a son. As much as possible, we give her a chance to advance.
First, I used to stay in the village all the time. Then I went for the training. When I came back, I went from house to house and I was happy. I could be of some use to people.
If every mother-in-law were to be less selfish and help out with the housework, then the daughters-in-law can also serve the community by working outside the home. For our family, she is the one to advance the light.
When working outside the home becomes a real choice, then a woman can decide if this is what she wants to do.
Women should have rights to go out and work, just like men. By going out of the house, one learns how everyone else lives. Without freedom, women become like trash.
Damayanti and her husband hope their example will be an inspiration for their daughter Kiran. Kiran, who is now 17, still lives at home. Most girls her age are already starting their own families.
I see my parents working. I like the work very much. When I grow up, after my studies, I would definitely do this work. I have been wanting to be a doctor for a long time. If you study, you could become a doctor. If you don't study, you would have to get married earlier.
Kiran sees that the people who come to her parents receive more than information about contraceptives. Women practitioners also address any fears their clients may have.
They tell us that the villagers don't want an intrauterine device or anything like that. People are afraid of it. So then I explain to them with love, you will be fine and you will have fewer children. Some have daughters and are trying for a son. This is how they end up having 10 or 12 children. I tell them, you don't even have enough food for them. They don't have clothes. Things are changing. Our conversations are changing. Changing for the better. The atmosphere is changing.
If family planning is to succeed in India, a change in attitude for both men and women is essential. Women practitioners learn how to help villagers overcome long-held prejudices.
What if a female who is not married gets pregnant? Back in the village, if people come to know, they're going to literally throw stones on her, like, why did you get into a sexual relationship? But you have to take her as a human being with normal desires. You have to deal like, okay, it's fine if you have got into a relationship, but now decide what you have to do. Do you want to keep the pregnancy? And if you want to keep the pregnancy, you should keep certain things in mind like nutrition. And after that, if you don't want to continue the relationship, learn to say no to the man. And if you want to continue, think about contraception. So we tell them, like, you are not supposed to be judgmental about any person coming to you.
As women practitioners build trust and encourage their clients to make choices, they then help the women find the resources they need. This woman, the mother of two, is one of SARITA's clients. SARITA and PAWAN will accompany her to Janani's clinic in Patna, where the woman plans to get a tubal ligation. When they arrive in Patna, SARITA and PAWAN meet with the clinic director while their client is being counseled before she makes a final decision.
When the husband and wife meet the doctor gets a chance to speak to both of them and to counsel both of them for a contraceptive.
After being counseled, this woman chose not to get a tubal ligation, which is a form of sterilization. Instead, she selected a removable device, which gives her the option of having another child later. For a woman who's made few personal decisions in her life, being able to plan her family is a turning point.
During the counseling, when they say that they have to consult their husbands or their in-laws, we tell them, do you want a child or not? You decide, because you have to look after the child. Your in-laws will not. Does your body allow, or do you have time? And then she takes a few minutes to think and says, no, I don't want. I said, go in for a contraceptive. You are the one who has to take care of yourself first. So we give that thought to her. She is the one around whom the whole family revolves. And it does make a difference to the woman when she walks out.
When a woman is able to make choices that support her family's and her own health, those decisions have a far-reaching impact. In the last 5 years, Janani has offered alternatives to sterilization to more than 500,000 women.
What will the effect of the increasing population be? In Bihar? In India? Or in the world? If we don't pay attention to this now, the situation will be so bad, it will be impossible to fix it.
As women acquire knowledge and gain confidence, they're influencing the next generation. Their progress lays the foundation for young women to become agents of change in their own lives.
I have a daughter, and I hope that she gets more education than I did, so she can accomplish more than we have.
Which parents don't have hopes and dreams for the betterment of their children? I'm hoping that my daughter can move ahead and become a doctor.
Out here, the feeling many people have towards education is very behind, especially in the matter of girls. They will educate the boys, but not the girls. It is necessary to educate the girls too. Until the girls are educated, they won't be able to move ahead.
Education, along with access to family planning, frees women to begin to make the most of their lives. India is building new hope for its future, woman by woman. For a village woman to assert herself and speak out requires tremendous personal courage. She's standing up against centuries of subjugation.
I don't care if people have doubts about my work. I don't want to give in to other people's pressure and let them influence me. If I listen to other people's opinions and judgments, my confidence will be destroyed. No matter whether or not other people think what I am doing is beneficial, they will see the result and feel good.
We started off with a village. females becoming aware about themselves, what is really important to them. We are trying to bring in a change. We are trying to cultivate practice, and that needs time. So this can be taken as a first step towards achieving a bigger thing.